All right. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, I am back. This is SJP, host of your favorite sports podcast, the SJP Files. Now, I know some of you might be a little bit perturbed with me because I did promise last Tuesday that I was going to record episode 18 of the SJP Files, put it up on Saturday, but that didn't happen. There wasn't any problem with my equipment, but a couple of personal things came up over the weekend that stopped me from recording. Very sorry. Now, there are a couple things that we will talk about. We will talk about the Carson Wentz trade. We will talk about Tim Tebow's retirement. We will talk about a couple things and in the NFL. And we will also talk about a few games that came up over the week in basketball and Week 10 of the NBA Power Rankings, which has seen some shakeups. But first, we're going to start with Tim Tebow in Major League Baseball. Now, I don't really bring up baseball on this podcast, mainly because baseball is incredibly boring to watch. I like baseball. I've always liked baseball. I used to play baseball when I was a kid. I love the game. Boring as all hell to watch. I don't know if it's just the presentation. It's better in person when you're sitting behind home plate. But man, watching baseball on television is so boring. I feel like there's no energy in the game, in the announcers. I love an old school pitching duel. I love I love a pitching duel, and I love to see two teams just go at it and hit like 10 home runs. But I'm not the biggest Major League Baseball fan for a couple of reasons. One, their unwritten rules are irritating as all fuck. It makes the game so boring. It's like they don't allow their players to have like fucking personalities, but they want to grow the game. But there's all this unwritten rules bullshit. I mean, you can hit a home run, but you can't look at it. What the fuck is that? Really? I can hit a home run, but I can't look at it. Oh, really? You can't take too long around the bases. What? Lucky I don't play professional baseball. I would look at every single home run I hit. I would moonwalk across the bases, and I would dare a pitcher to throw at me. Because I'm telling you, if a pitcher threw at me, I would warn him too. I would talk to his catcher too. I'd step up to the plate. Tell your boy right now, if he throws at me, I'm going to whoop his ass. I'm going to take this bat and I'm going to go King Kong on his ass. I'm going to swing for the fences and I'm going to go home run with his head. Okay? That's how it's going to go. But I don't play baseball. Thank God. Baseball players do make a stupid amount of money, man. The San Diego Padres just signed a player for a ridiculous amount of money. Mike Trout got like $400 plus million. Bryce Harper got $330 plus million. Jesus Christ, those contracts don't happen in other sports, mainly because baseball has no salary cap, which I kind of wish every sport had no salary cap. Well, actually, scratch that. No salary cap in football works. The hard salary cap in football works. I'd prefer either no salary cap or a hard salary cap. I don't like the in-between that the NBA has. I've never liked the in-between that the NBA has. Either no salary cap or a hard cap. I don't like this middle ground of a soft cap where you go over the cap, but you got to pay taxes. I've never been particularly fond of it. But back to baseball. Tim Tebow has retired after 5 seasons in the minor leagues. Timmy Tebow has retired. Timmy Tebow. There's not much more to say. Tim Tebow retired from professional baseball. It was his dream, and he let it go after failing in the NFL because Tim couldn't throw. Tebow had all the intangibles that you look for in a player without the requisite talent to make him great. He couldn't throw. If he had switched to another position, running back or fullback, or hell, maybe even like tight end or something. Tebow was 6'3", 245, big dude, but still, he just couldn't throw. He had his arm, the arm talent one day. He wasn't accurate, was his main concern. And his first year in Denver, I know they had a good record. They went to the playoffs, won a playoff game, but they didn't bring him back. Went to the Jets. I think he sucked there. Took a couple years off and then decided, hey, I'm going to play professional baseball. In the minor leagues, he had 940 at bats. 940 at bats, 107 runs, 210 hits, 48 doubles, 3 triples, 18 home runs, 107 RBIs in 287 games. 85 walks, 5 stolen bases, 223 batting average, 299 on base percentage, 338 slugging percentage. 638 OPS. Average career. Actually, not even average. I don't know if it was the 10 years he took off for baseball, but it looks like he just couldn't get it back. Started back too late. If he had come back, if he had went to baseball directly after leaving the NFL, kind of giving up his dream in the NFL and then went directly to baseball, I think maybe he wouldn't have been so far removed from it, because he stopped playing baseball in high school, so 18. So he played 4 years in college and another couple years in the NFL. I want to say 2 to 3 years in the NFL. So by the time he left the NFL, he would have been 25-ish. I want to say 25, 26. If he had went directly to baseball after that, he might have seen something different, or he just might have been a guy who never was going to make it either. So that's how it is. Bye-bye, Timmy. I don't know what you're doing now, but more power to you. Good luck. Have fun. What the hell you want me to say? That's it for baseball, because fuck baseball. A little college football. Deion Sanders in his prime time. Deion Sanders, the greatest defensive back of all time, maybe the greatest athlete in the NFL history, if not professional sports history. His Jackson State college football team, Jackson State, Mississippi, went 53-0 in their season opener. What is it? Edward Waters? What? And I don't know who they play. All I know is, Deion coached his team to 53-0. His quarterback Jalen Jones threw for 2 touchdowns and ran for another, as Jackson State rolled, like I said, 53-0. Kamian Clark scored 2 rushing touchdowns. Warren Newman showed some dazzling speed as a wideout. I did not watch this game. I saw some highlights on ESPN. Thought I should talk about it on the pod, because I love primetime. Absolutely love primetime Deion Sanders. Shout out to primetime. I hope that whatever he's doing down there at Jackson State, I hope he can move up the coaching ladder. If he just wants to coach college football, I think he could be a great college coach. If maybe one day he wants to move to the NFL, I think he could be a good NFL coach too. I think he recognizes talent. So next, ladies and gentlemen, we have JJ Watt, tweeting out, JJ Watt tweeting out to the fans, give him some time to make a decision. Apparently JJ on his Twitter account said it takes him like an hour on DoorDash to decide what restaurant he wants, and he's gonna need y'all to give him some time to pick a new team he wants to play it. He wants to play for. Now for me, I'm not sure what team JJ you could go down to Tampa. Come over here to Tampa. Go down to Tampa. That, hey man, roll up with Tom Brady, try and get you another chip, or you go to Indianapolis. They've got some raw talent, especially with who we're going to talk about in a couple minutes. Carson Wentz getting traded to the Indianapolis Colts. Question is, where is he going to sign? Or you can go out to LA. They'll team up with Aaron Donald on that D line and play with Matthew Stafford over there in LA. I think he's got a lot of teams. You go to Arizona, play with his boy DeAndre Hopkins again. But I think he's gonna make a good decision. I don't know if I don't think it's about money. I just think he's careful about where he wants to play, because I think he really wants to contend for a championship. Now, those are the places those are the top three. If he wants to contend for a championship, those are the top three places I would suggest he really think about: Tampa, Indianapolis, Los Angeles Rams. Those are the three teams. Those are the places where you could really make a big impact for him. Now, as for Mr. Wentz, says goodbye to Philadelphia after being traded to Indianapolis for a third-round pick and a conditional second-round pick. Now, what does conditional mean? Conditional means on the second-round pick is that if Carson Wentz plays 75% of the snaps for the Indianapolis Colts this season, the pick transformed from a second-round pick to a first-round pick. Or if he plays 70% of the snaps and wins a playoff game, then the pick also turns from a second to a first. Anything other than that, and it stays a second-round pick. So it is in the Eagles' best interest that Carson Wentz plays well in Indianapolis. Now, Carson Wentz is reunited with his offensive coordinator from his... He's reunited with his offensive coordinator from his near MVP season in, I want to say 2017. In the year that, the Philadelphia Eagles beat my New England Patriots in the Super Bowl in a fucking shootout where Tom Brady throws like 500 yards. But yes, Carson has now moved to Indianapolis with a great team, a maybe even a Super Bowl ready team. Like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were a Super Bowl ready team, but just needed the right quarterback. The Indianapolis Colts are a Super Bowl ready team. They got a good defense, a dynamic offense, good offensive line. They needed a quarterback. And Phillip Rivers, if they had Phillip Rivers from like 10 years ago, maybe they win a championship this year or go to the Super Bowl this year. But that's not what happened. They got old Phillip Rivers, and Phillip Rivers is retired now. Carson Wentz is now your starting quarterback in Indianapolis. Thing about Carson had an okay rookie year. It was a rookie year for a rookie quarterback. His second year blew up. If he had not gotten hurt, he probably would have won the MVP that year. Instead of, I'm trying to remember who. I think it was Brady who won it that year. I'm pretty sure it was Brady who won it that year. But yes, if he had not gotten hurt, probably wins the NFL MVP that year. Gets hurt. Nick Foles takes the team to the Super Bowl and wins. Comes back next year, plays well, gets hurt again. Nick Foles takes over again, takes the team to the playoffs. Plays again, gets hurt. And now he was arguably the worst quarterback in the NFL this year. Horrendously bad this year. But a new start in Philly in Indianapolis could be absolutely great for him. Sorry, that's my mic stand that's creaking like that. I'm gonna get it fixed. Anyway, where was I? I lost my train of thought for a second there. Oh yes, Carson Wentz. Sorry. When this could be either the greatest thing that happened to Wentz or the worst thing that happened to Wentz. Either this proves that the problem was in Philadelphia, or this proves the problem was Wentz himself. because some of the stories that come out about Wentz, about his teammates saying that this dude is selfish, only cares about himself, isn't coachable, wants to do things his way and only his way, and isn't open to learning new things. And if that is the case, then Wentz is going to be he's going to be a nobody here. He's going to come in, he's going to crash and burn, and he's going to tell everybody to kick rocks. Now, with that being said, we're going to move on to another NFL quarterback, Mr. Cam Newton, who is on Brandon Marshall's I Am an Athlete podcast with Fred Taylor and Chad Johnson. Newton said he returned after positive testing and struggled to pick up where he left off. In the first couple games of the season, he was playing really well. Then he got COVID, and then he just wasn't the same again. He was terrible after that. Played the first 4 games, and then his 12 starts after that, 6 TDs, 8 interceptions, and Patriots finished the season 7-9 and not in the playoffs for the first time in like a decade. But missed a week with that, and then oh my god, it was sad. But he did have a little bit of an incident with a kid on like I don't know where it was, but a kid was making fun of him for being a free agent this year, and Cam clapped back with an appropriate response. I'm still rich. I'm rich, which he is. He's rich. Count him only one. He's still rich. Stupid rich. I think he's done, though. I really do. I like him, but I think he's done. I think he's done. There, you could see it a couple times. His arm was just dead in that season. I don't know how good he can be. I don't know where he is. We're going to jam back to the NBA. We're not going to get to the power rankings yet. We're probably going to do the power rankings after we pay some bills. But right now, the Minnesota Timberwolves parted ways with Ryan Saunders after he was with the team for the last 3 years. He was relieved of his duty following the team's 103-99 defeat to the New York Knicks. And he was replaced by Chris Finch, who I really know nothing about. Chris Finch has 24 years of coaching experience, half of that in Europe, 2-time NCAA Division III All-American at Franklin and Marsh College in Pennsylvania. Played for the Sheffield Sharks in the British Basketball League and later coached the same team from 97 to 03. They released, like I said, okay. Well, I really don't know much about this guy. Saunders went 43-94 in 3 seasons with the Minnesota Timberwolves. He was NBA's worst, 7-24 this year. Oh my God! I wouldn't say it's entirely Saunders' fault, because the last couple of years you had 2 guys on this team who don't love basketball. I've said this before, I'll say it again. Andrew Wiggins has no heart, and I'm not sure about Karl Anthony Towns either. Karl Anthony Towns has some of the most immense talent I think I've ever seen in professional basketball. It's freakish how talented he is. He can do almost anything on the court. But I don't see that fire. I don't see that will. He doesn't make anyone around him better. He is great, but he is never going to be the number 1 on a championship team. It's never going to happen. He's a number 2. For a guy to be a number 1 on the championship team on his own, you have to see sparks of pure greatness, sparks that he can galvanize a team, that he can lift them up, that he can make guys who aren't good, he can make guys who are bad average, guys who are average, good, guys who are good, great. And LeBron James does that. Michael Jordan did that. Kobe Bryant did that. Kobe Bryant proved it. Shaq proved it. Magic Johnson proved it. Some of the greats with the level of talent that Karl Anthony Towns has. And he has that kind of raw talent. He has all-time NBA raw talent. He just doesn't have like the will that those guys had to not lose. He's been in the league he's got to have been in the league for like 5-6 years now. And he just doesn't, and I feel like he doesn't care. And he looked like he doesn't, he likes it. I felt like he liked to watch, he loved to play basketball because he loved to watch he loved to see the look on his mother's face when she watched him play basketball. And I know it's a tough subject because considering the fact that his mother died, but even before the death of his mother, I never felt like he loved basketball. I felt like he loved what basketball could do for him and his family. And there's really nothing wrong with that. But at this level, you have to want it. And I don't feel like he wants it. That's all I got to say about that. And that's all I got to say about that. Now for apparently another report. Apparently the Houston Rockets are parting ways with center DeMarcus Cousins, according to Shams. Now, Houston wants to go younger, smaller in the front court when Christian Woods returns. So it's likely that he's going to find somebody. He's going to find another place. And Boogie's been playing well this year. About 10 points, about 8 rebounds in like 25 minutes, 26 minutes in 25 games this year. Shooting 36%, 37% from the field, about 38% from the field. They guaranteed Boogie the rest of his $2.3 million contract for the rest of the season. There's also a report that it looks like there was also a report that the Lakers might be looking to bring Boogie in to reunite him with Anthony Davis again. He was on the team last year until he got hurt early in the season. But I don't know how John Wall is going to feel about this because Wall's been wanting to play with Boogie for a while and they just never got linked up with both of them being so injured over the last couple years. But when Christian Wood was playing on the court, he was playing like a little bit like AD. He's playing a little bit like AD. Kind of look a little bit like AD. Now, I'm not going to put him in AD's level yet, because I think he might have the talent to be there. But he looked like a younger. He's not as athletic as AD, but I think he's just as gifted. I think he might be just as gifted. And I wouldn't say he is just as gifted. He might be just as gifted. He's good. He's young. He's hungry. You can tell he wants to win. And they were playing well before he got hurt. Before he got hurt, they had a winning record after the James Harden trade. After he got hurt, they kind of fell off a cliff. So we'll see. So let's see. Yes. I'm gonna jump into. We got about a couple more minutes before we pay some bills, but I'm gonna jump into the Kia rookie ladder. Sadiq Bey surges into the top 10 after winning Rookie of the Week, or was it Rookie of the Month? No, it was Player of the Week, not Player of the Month. I'm sorry, winning Player of the Week last week. Anthony Edwards moves up to number 2. All right, number 1 is number 1 on the rookie ladder. LaMelo Ball averaging 15 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. Since the last, Kia rookie ladder, I'm gonna say last week, he's averaged 18 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists. Just killing it. Anthony Edwards, since the last ladder, averaging 17 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. Caught a body. He caught an absolute body when they played the Toronto Raptors. I mean, he took that dude's soul on national television. I think that might have been local television, but it doesn't matter because everybody in the nation saw him. He just bodied that guy. It was a little hard to look at. Number 3, Tyrese Halliburton, averaging 15 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists since the last ladder. 12 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists for the season. Still playing well. The Knicks still regret not taking him with their first pick. Immanuel Quickley from the New York Knicks, averaging 15 points, 2.5 rebounds, 3 assists, plus minus 12 over the last 4 games in 22 minutes per game since the last letter. Overall for the season, 13 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists. Immanuel Quickley, their second draft pick in last year's draft. Quick and Rose combined for 38 points off the bench in their last game. On the 14th, sorry. Jayshawn Tate from the Houston Rockets, averaging 14 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists since the last ladder. The next 5, Sadiq Bey, who's at 6, who wasn't ranked last week. Since the ladder, he's averaged 18 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. He's averaging 9, 3, and 1 for the season. Then we've got Patrick Williams, Peyton Pritchard, Desmond Bain for the Memphis Grizzlies, and Jaden McDaniels. And that is your NBA key rookie ladder. Now, as for the MVP ladder, LeBron James is still number 1. We got Joel Embiid still at number 2. Damian Lillard moved up from 8 to 3, averaging 30 points, 4 rebounds, 8 assists, and a steal for the season. Steph Curry's moved up to number 4, averaging 30 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, and 1 steal. Nikola Jokic dropped to 5. The next 5 are Donovan Mitchell, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard, and James Harden. The next 5 after that, Jason Tatum, Rudy Gobert, Devin Booker, Jaylen Brown, Luka Doncic. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to pay some bills, and when we get back, we're going to go over the NBA power rankings for Week 10. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is SJP, the host of the SJP Files. Have you heard about Anchor? If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Once again, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We just paid some bills. Shout out to Anchor. But we're going to get back to the NBA power rankings for Week 10 in the NBA. We're going to start out with the quick little overview at the top. Over their 5-game trip out west, the Brooklyn Nets allowed 116.3 points per possession, a mark which gave them the league's 21st ranked defense over those 9 days. And it didn't matter. The Nets shot 53% from the field, including 45% from 3. Cut down on turnovers, scoring more than 125 points per game per 100 possessions on their 5-game trip. Kevin Durant didn't play in 4 of the 5 games. And without Kyrie Irving in their comeback win in Phoenix on Tuesday. Now, plus minus players of the week. The right way, Chris Boucher. Toronto, a plus 56 in the 4 games this week. And the wrong way, so disappointing. De'Aaron Fox. Sacramento, a minus 61 in 4 games last week. Jesus Christ. Let's see. Teams of the week. Making it last forever. The Brooklyn Nets. Hey. 5-0 with wins over the Suns, Lakers, and Clippers without Kevin Durant. Minnesota Timberwolves 0-4. Good luck, Mr. Finch, because they are trash. East-West matchups. West is 101-75 against the East. But the East was 20-8 this week. Toughest strength of schedule through week 9. Sacramento at 1, Oklahoma at 2, Detroit at 3. Easiest, Orlando, Phoenix, LA. The Lakers, not the Clippers. High jumps of the week. Toronto +7. Toronto +7. Brooklyn, Chicago, Orlando, Washington +4. Free fall, Sacramento -8. Detroit, Houston, Memphis -3. Teams to watch: the Portland Trailblazers. Let's see. Top of the list this week, the Utah Jazz. Still the top of the week. Still at the top of the NBA with the best record in the league at 24-6. They are 2.5 games up on the Lakers and 3 games up on the Clippers. Let's see. They had slow starts in their last 3 games of their 9-game winning streak. Their Sixers first. They beat the Sixers for their first loss after leading double digits. They raced a 15-point deficit against the Clippers on Friday, but they had matchup issues down the stretch and couldn't get the job done. The Jazz are 20-2. Jazz in the 22 stretch. They've been 20-2 over the last 22 games. Let's see. That's really it. There's not much to tell about the Utah Jazz. They're steady. They're just steady this season. I mean, they've been playing incredible basketball. They don't lose. They don't get beat. They lost a close game to the Clippers, which snapped their winning streak. That's about it. They're out there doing Utah Jazz things. On Friday, they lost against the Clippers. Their next game is tonight against the Charlotte Hornets, which is another one of my favorite teams to watch. But this week, they beat the Philadelphia 76ers 134-123. They did beat the Clippers earlier in the week 114-96, and then they lost to the Clippers on Friday 112-116. But overall, they're a very, very good team. It looks like Mike Conley, he's back. He's not back, but he will be back. I mean, Donovan Mitchell still playing a great game. Jordan Clarkson having a 6th Man of the Year performance off the bench. Bojan Bogdanovic. I still say, even after this week, they need a second scorer to really put them over the edge and make them true title. They are title contenders because they have the best record in the West, but to win a championship, they are going to need a second scorer. I don't think they're going to mess with the chemistry of the team, so I believe this is probably the team that you're going to get into the playoffs. And although they're playing well, although I like them, this is kind of where they're stuck. I don't see them making it past the second round. I think they'll probably end up losing to whoever the 4th seed is, whether it turns out to be the Lakers or the Clippers. Right now, the 4 seed in the Western Conference, 4 or 5 seed in the Western Conference is Phoenix and Portland. Now, I think they could beat either of these teams. But with the Lakers playing the way they're playing at the present moment, I would not be surprised to see them fall a bit. And with the Phoenix Suns playing the way they're playing, I wouldn't be surprised to see them move up a bit and maybe swap out with the way they're doing right now. But we're going to move to the second team in our power rankings, the Brooklyn Nets, on a 5-game winning streak against four very, very good teams on their West Coast trips. West Coast trips. Hit that West Coast trip. What? Excuse me. I needed that. Oh, that was terrible. That was terrible. Very, very sorry. Ooh, my bad. So, their 5-game West Coast road trip started out in Golden State, where they beat the Golden State Warriors 134-117. Then go to Sacramento, where they beat the Sacramento Kings 136-125. Then in a comeback win with no Kyrie Irving or Kevin Durant in Phoenix, led by James Harden, they go 128-124 and beat the Lakers 109-98 in a game they were pretty much in control of. Kyrie Irving was back for this game for the entire game. They beat the LA Clippers 112-108 in a game they probably should have lost if not for Tyronn Lue pulling Paul George with 3 minutes left to go in the game. They probably lose that game because Paul George was cooking in the fourth quarter of this game. But I will talk about that more when I get to the Clippers portion of the power ranking. But the Brooklyn Nets, 7th in pace, 1st in offensive rating, 26th in defensive rating, 7th in net rating. As well as they're playing, the biggest problem is in the Eastern Conference with Joel Embiid playing the way he's playing. Do the Brooklyn Nets have enough on defense to be able to keep Joel Embiid from doing whatever he wants in the paint? Because his mid-range game is on point right now. His mid-range game is killer out there in Philly. But if the Brooklyn Nets do not have an interior force good enough to guard Joel Embiid or give Joel Embiid some type of problems, I believe Jared Allen was that guy, and DeAndre Jordan is so far past his prime. Joel Embiid is going to eat him alive. And I do not want Kevin Durant down there. Kevin Durant might be tall enough, but he's nowhere near strong enough. And I want Kevin Durant scoring on the offensive end. So I don't want Kevin Durant anywhere near Joel Embiid. Same thing, who's going to guard Giannis Antetokounmpo? Who's going to guard Anthony Davis in the finals? That's the question. If you make it to the finals, which I'm not 100% sure. My pick is the Philadelphia. Actually, my pick is not the Philadelphia. So I don't know who's going to make it out of the East. I want to say the Philadelphia 76ers, but I don't trust I don't trust Ben Simmons in the playoffs. I want to say the Brooklyn Nets. They're my team, but I don't trust their defense. And I harp on defense because I'm a defense guy. When I build players in 2K, I need a guy who can play defense. Who can play really good, if not great defense. I need a guy who can put the clamps down on somebody and keep somebody from scoring. Because it doesn't matter, because situational basketball does not matter. But in the playoffs, you cannot win every game 130. You can't win every game 125 to 117. You just can't do it. You just can't do it. Eventually, you're going to have bad shooting nights. As great as offensive players as those three guys are, eventually you're going to have a bad shooting night. And the other team's going to have a great shooting night because y'all suck on defense. So they need to find a way to bolster this defense if they want a real shot at winning a championship this year. Now, the Los Angeles Lakers, who have spent the entire week playing without Anthony Davis, dropped in the power rankings to number 2. After being number 1 for a couple of weeks and then number 2 last week. Pace is 24th, 15th in offensive rating, 1st in defensive rating, 4th in net rating. Now, the Lakers' defense has suffered, allowing 112 points per 100 possessions without Anthony Davis. Ooh. Oh, God. Oh, God, that hurts. That hurts a lot. It's my knee. What do you want from me? It's my goddamn knee that's irritating me. All right, the full schedule with the Los Angeles Lakers. Ow. In February games. Okay. This February week for the Los Angeles Lakers. Oh, boy. Just not the greatest week for the Lakers. Starting on the 14th, they lost to the Denver Nuggets 105-122. Beat the Minnesota Timberwolves, who suck, 112-104, and then lost their next two games against the Brooklyn Nets and the Miami Heat. The Lakers need to adjust their offense without Anthony Davis, who's resting his Achilles. He's probably not going to be back. Until the All-Star game. With that being said, the Lakers need to bolster I wouldn't say bolster their offense. They need to change up their offense because it looks like they're still playing like AD's on the court, and he's not. And Pau Gasol is not Anthony Davis, and Montrezl Harrell's not Anthony Davis. And even if they bring in DeMarcus Cousins, as much as I love Boogie's not AD. So what they need to do is need to find a way to adjust their offense to LeBron James. Because I know they kind of have a system in LA, but they need to adjust the offense a little more to LeBron so that they can stop losing these games. Because although Miami is a good team, maybe a good team having a very bad year, Minnesota is a terrible team. Denver gotten off to a seriously slow start. Brooklyn is still kind of finding themselves, even though they completely crushed the Lakers, in which I do and do not like to see, even though when it comes to the Nets and the Lakers, I love LeBron James more than I love the Brooklyn Nets. So I will end up rooting for the Lakers over the Nets. So this was not a game I loved watching LeBron get crushed in. And I've stated this before, I've never been overly fond of the stars of the Brooklyn Nets, which is very, very confusing as a fan. Like, you love a team, but not like your star players. I'm a contradiction. The Lakers are 22-9 on the season, 2.5 games back of the Utah Jazz. They are 9-6 at home, 13-3 on the road, 3-0 at overtime. They've won 7 of their last 10 games, even though the fact they've lost their last 2. They played last week essentially without Anthony Davis, and I hope AD gets better quickly, because I do not want to see the Lakers fall. LeBron, do not let them fall past the Clippers. You cannot not have a better record than the Clippers. I'll take the Suns. I'll take the Trailblazers, but not the goddamn Clippers. Yes, as you've probably guessed in my voice, I ain't a Clippers guy. To hell with the Clippers. Now, on to 4. The Phoenix Suns, who were 4 last week, and they're 4 this week. 19-10 record. They're 4th in the Western Conference. Yes, they're 4th in the Western Conference. 29th in pace, 8th in offense, 6th in defense, 5th net rating. Monty Williams has... Monty Williams has this team in a different space. And Chris Paul, oh my God. Chris Paul has definitely led this team. He is a different kind of leader for these guys. He's a different kind of leader for these guys. And don't allow that. And I can't wait to have that played. But I digress. From last week, starting on Sunday, the Suns beat the Magic 109-90, lost a heartbreaker to the Brooklyn Nets 128-124, crushed the New Orleans Pelicans 132-114, crushed the Memphis Grizzlies 128-97, and their next game is tonight against the Portland Trailblazers. I wish I could see that game, but apparently that game is only on Fox Sports Arizona. But I'll be able to see the highlights of that game. I want to see what happens. I'm going to go with I'd go with the 76ers. The 76ers. I'm going with the Suns. Now, Monty Williams has been moving Frank Kaminsky in and out of the lineup. I include their permanent for 3 different guys. Best yet. 13. Okay. Anyway, the Phoenix Suns have been playing very, very, very well this year. They're just a special kind. I wouldn't say a special kind of team because I don't know how special they can be, but they're playing well. DeAndre Ayton has been playing better. His numbers are a little bit up. I would still like to see more from Ayton. It may just be the offense that they're running, but Devin Booker isn't scoring as much. His numbers have gone down slightly, but not by much. But this is a new offense, and you have a new star player on the team, so I can kind of understand everything getting kind of up in the air. Chris Paul averaging 17 points, 17 points, 4 rebounds, 9 assists. Excuse me. 9. Then you have Jay Crowder, Cameron Johnson, Cameron Payne. This is a good, young, deep team who needs to learn how to win. And I think Chris Paul can teach them how to win to a point. After that, Devin Booker needs to be the guy. He needs to be your primary scorer on this team. I want him taking the last shot. And I think that Brooklyn game was a good experience for them. Sorry. Kind of teaching them how to win. Now, the 5th team down from 3, the Los Angeles Clippers. Clippers 22, and they're the 3rd-ranked team in the Western Conference. Just lost to the Brooklyn Nets because Paul George was. I'm not gonna lie. Although I don't particularly like Mr. I am not overly fond of Mr. George of Way Off P. He was balling. Paul George was balling. Absolutely balling. And the end of that Clippers-Nets game had his team in position to win that game until Tyronn Lue pulled him out on a minutes restriction with 3 minutes left to go. Terrible call. Another 3 minutes onto the 30 minutes that was his minutes restriction wasn't going to kill you. You should have gave my man the 3 minutes, man. Why didn't you give him the 3 minutes? And you probably would have won the game if you had given him the 3 minutes, because you kind of outplayed the Nets in that fourth quarter. Not kind of. You did outplay the Nets in that fourth quarter, and it's sad to see. Oh, so sad to see. Because, the Nets only played, I want to say 8 guys. Kyrie Irving did have 28 points. James Harden had 37 points. But Paul George had 34 points for the game. He had, trying to see what he had in the fourth quarter. Had 12 points in the fourth quarter. 2 for 2 from the field. 2 for 2 from both shots. 3, 6 from the free throw line. He was getting it done, putting his team on his back. And if you didn't know, you know now. If you had left him in, you probably win that game, but you didn't, so you lost. And there's nothing I like seeing more than the Clippers losing games, but this was a bad call from T. Lue. This is one of those you don't adhere to the minutes restrictions, and you just let your boys play. 6th on the list, the Philadelphia 76ers, who didn't play bad this week. I don't think they played bad this week. They did lose to the bomb ass. They have lost a couple games this week, I'm not going to lie. Lost to the Utah Jazz 134-123. Beat the Houston Rockets 118-113. Beat the Chicago Bulls 112-105. And then lost to the Toronto Raptors, which is a team they not only shouldn't have lost by, but a team they probably should have crushed. They really should have crushed that team, and I don't. And we're about to sit, because I didn't see this game, but did Joel Embiid play in this game? I think he did. Yes, Joel Embiid did play in this game. 25 points, 17 rebounds. Tobias Harris, only 13 points. Tobias. Ben Simmons gave you 28 points, which is rare for him. To see Ben Simmons give you almost 30 points a game, despite the fact motherfucker can't shoot. He's going to become a detriment in the playoffs. That's why I'm not so high on the Philadelphia. If Ben Simmons could hit a mid-range shot, I would be more comfortable picking the Philadelphia 76ers to win a championship this year. To contend for a championship, maybe even win it. But his inability to hit a jump shot. I'm not looking for a 3-pointer. I'm looking for a jump shot, man. just a shot, just to put some in the air. Anything from outside of the paint. A fadeaway, a hook, a sky hook. Add the sky hook to your game, because Kareem Abdul-Jabbar can hit that sky hook from damn near anywhere on the court. Add something, man. His inability to evolve his game is going to cost his team a chance to win a championship. And when that happens, it's finally going to be time to let one of these guys go. Finally, and maybe even get a haul and a player back for him. But still, it's almost time to let one of these dudes go. One of them. I'm not sure which one. I would let Ben go, because I'm far more fond of Joel Embiid, because he has improved so much over the last couple years. But that's it. But I just can't do it. I'm trying, but I just can't do it. The Philadelphia 76ers are still atop the Eastern Conference. Even though they were only 5-5 the last 10 games, they've lost one, while the Brooklyn Nets are 7-3 in their last 10 games, winning 6 in a row. Nets are half a game back, even though they're both strange records. Excuse me. Nappy time. I could use some sleep. Maybe I should get a nap before I go to work. Yeah, I'm starting the night, not the overnight shift this week, so I won't be at home until like 4 o'clock in the morning. Good God, that makes me want to die slow. With that being said, that's horrendous. But that's the price you pay for that paycheck. But back to the power rankings. Number 7, the Milwaukee Bucks, who are 18-3, the third-ranked team in the West in the Eastern Conference, followed by the Portland Trailblazers at 8 and the Denver Nuggets at 9. As for the Milwaukee Bucks, there's not much to say about it. Congratulations to Giannis Antetokounmpo for making the All-Star team. Yay for Giannis. We're gonna pick up the Bucks. The Bucks, let's see, their last game, they won 128-15 against the Sacramento Kings. Who cares? 98-85 against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Once again, who cares? Lost to the Toronto Raptors 110-96. That's a big one. And then lost again to the Toronto Raptors 124-113. My guy, Giannis Antetokounmpo. What are we doing? They are not having a good year. They're having an okay year in Milwaukee. Drew Holiday isn't the guy. They lost like 5 games last week. 5 games straight, not last week, but I think it was the week before. But it doesn't matter. They're so disappointing. I thought Drew Holiday would make them so much better. But it's just I'm not sure how to describe the Milwaukee Bucks. I'm really not. So I'm gonna take a pass from them. They're 5th in pace, 2nd in offensive rating, 10th in defensive rating, 2nd in net rating. The Portland Trailblazers just bigging up the rest of the league. You fucking bums. You fucking bums. I did not think they would be this good without CJ McCollum. I said that last week, but they're just piling up wins right now. I know they just lost a game against the Washington Wizards, which is not a game they should be losing, but they beat the New Orleans Pelicans in a close game. They beat the Oklahoma City Thunder in a close game. Not really a close game, kind of close, 11-point game. So I say kind of close. They beat the Dallas Mavericks in a close game. They beat the Cleveland Cavaliers handily. And then they beat the Philadelphia 76ers in a close game. This is a dynamic team full of dynamic scorer, led by a dynamic scorer in one Damian Lillard. Big game, Dame. Shout out to Dame. I love Dame. I love Dame so much. He is such a good player. It's kind of freakish how good of a player he is. I want to see. I want to see how well they do. Carmelo Anthony had a couple of big games. He's averaging 13 points. It was good to see Melo back, playing well. Gary Trent Jr. averaging 15 points. Enes Kanter averaging 12 points. CJ McCollum was averaging 27 points before he got hurt. Damian Lillard once again showing everyone just how good he really is, averaging a cool 30 points. I believe he made the All-Star team this week. Shout out to Dame. I believe is he a starter? I think he's an all-star starter. Let me check real quick. No, he is not a starter. And he's not a starter, but he'll be on the all-star team. He'll be on the all-star team this year after a few years of getting robbed. We're gonna move down. The Denver Nuggets down from 7. They're now 9th. 9th, I tell you, on the power rankings after losing to Atlanta 123-115. Their game against Charlotte was postponed, I guess for COVID protocols. They beat the Cleveland Cavaliers soundly. Then they lost to the Washington Wizards. Wizards are beating some good teams out west. Then lost to the Boston Celtics. Lost to the Boston Celtics on Tuesday, and then last Sunday beat the LA Lakers, which was their last good win. Right now they are 7th in the power rankings, 4-6 over the last 10. Lost their last game. They're 8-6 at home, 8-8 on the road, 11-9 in conference, 5-1 in the division, 8 games back. Now they're in the play-in tournament range with 3 other teams, the Golden State Warriors, the Memphis Grizzlies, and the Dallas Mavericks, who have finally stopped sucking so spectacularly. Now they only suck marginally. San Antonio Spurs at 10, same at 10 last week. Spurs playing really good basketball, which is what you'd expect from a Greg Popovich coached team. They've beaten some good teams, I would say. They've beaten some good teams. Let's see. No, I don't want to broadcast information. Let's see their schedule. God damn it, I hate when that happens. I really do. All right, they had their game Tuesday postponed against the Detroit Pistons. Then the game Wednesday postponed against the Cleveland Cavaliers. And then they had their game against the New York Knicks postponed. And then the game against the Indianapolis Patriots postponed. So they haven't moved mainly because they haven't been playing. But the week before that, they beat Charlotte 122-110. They beat Atlanta 125-114. Lost to Golden State 114-91. Beat Golden State 105-100, and then beat the Houston Rockets 111-106. Good team, plays well. DeMar DeRozan, very underrated player in the NBA right now. He went from kind of being slightly overrated to now being. All right, ladies and gentlemen, sorry about that. I got cut off without noticing, so I talked for like another 10 minutes. But I am back, and we're going to take a step back. Now, the 11th team on the power rankings are the Golden State Warriors. The 12th team are the Toronto Raptors, who are playing very good basketball right now. Who have won, good God, where are they? Who have won 7 of their last 10 and their last 4 to move up from 19 to 12 in the power rankings. Dallas Mavericks are 13th in the power rankings. Indiana Pacers are 14th, which is about where I expected them. And the Boston Celtics. Now, this is the team I was on before I realized that, I had stopped recording. No, sorry. I finally looked at the time and said the recording blip the recording dot wasn't recording. So, sorry about that. The Boston Celtics, 15-15. Another roller coaster game for Kemba Walker, 28 points, 10 for 16 in their win over Atlanta, and then 5 for 21 in their debacle against the Pelicans. The Pelicans just torched them in the second half. Absolutely crushed their souls, and it's sad to see, man. It really is. Jason Tatum had 32 points. Tristan Thompson had 14. Jaylen Brown had 25. Kemba Walker only had 14. Meanwhile, in New Orleans, Brandon Ingram, 33 points. Zion Williamson, 28 points. Lonzo Ball, 16 points. Josh Hart, 17 off the bench. This team they miss Gordon Hayward so much. Gordon Hayward, who's balling out. Just balling out in Charlotte. Just playing good, winning basketball in Charlotte. And yes, Charlotte's a game under 500, but nobody expected Charlotte to be good this year. Nobody really expected them to be good. Everyone expected them to suck, and now they're a 500 team with a legit chance to make the playoffs. They're the 8th seed right now in the play-in tournament. I wouldn't be surprised if they get hot this season. I would not be surprised to see them move into that 6th spot because Boston is playing like trash. Kemba Walker it's like the curse of the Boston Celtics, man. Every free agent that goes there gets hurt. And over the last couple of years, every free agent that goes there gets hurt, and he's just not the same by the time he recovers. Kemba Walker fighting off injuries. Gordon Hayward broke his fucking leg. It took him 3 years it took him like 4 years to get back to where he is right now, out here in Charlotte, balling. Which brings me to the 16th team on the power rankings, the Charlotte Hornets. The Charlotte Hornets. Scary Terry out here calling game against the Warriors. Putting up a game winner. I love this team. They are one of my favorite teams to watch. I know, are they a great team? No. I think they're a good team. I think they're a good, young, talented team with a good top veteran at the top in Gordon Hayward, who's playing phenomenal basketball right now. 17, the Miami Heat. They're 4 games under 500, despite the fact that they beat the Los Angeles Lakers early last week. The Memphis Grizzlies are 18th. They're 13-13. They've missed a lot of games. They're 9th in the Western Conference in that kind of play-in tournament range. I'm not kind of either way with both of with the Memphis Grizzlies. I thought they could be a good team. I wasn't expecting them to, blow up, but I still expect them to be a little bit better than they are. The Knicks, who are 19th in the power rankings and are 7th in the Eastern Conference, even though they have a better record than Charlotte. I wouldn't say slightly better record than Charlotte. They're both a game over 500, but it looks like the Knicks have played 2 more games, so it doesn't matter. But the Knicks have playing good basketball. They're not terrible, not good, but they're not terrible. They're kind of an average team. The Atlanta Hawks, I thought they'd be better this year. I really thought they'd be better this year. The New Orleans Pelicans, another team I thought would be better this year. The Chicago Bulls are 22. Orlando Magic at 23, who have been racked by injuries this whole year. It looks like they're not going to be getting healthy anytime soon, despite like a 5-1 start to the season. The Washington Wizards at 24, who've been playing good basketball as of late. The Oklahoma City Thunder, who still suck. They're rebuilding completely. Sacramento Kings, very disappointed in. Houston Rockets, still in free fall. The Detroit Pistons, still one of the worst teams in the league, despite now sitting Blake Griffin, about to be traded. The Minnesota Timberwolves, who are actually the worst team in the league. And the Cleveland Cavaliers, who are at the bottom of the list. I would not put Cleveland at the bottom. I'd put Minnesota at the bottom because I honestly believe they're the worst fucking team in the league. And even though the Cleveland Cavaliers do not have the best record, I'd have put Cleveland probably at 28, moved Detroit down to 29, and then moved Minnesota down to 30 because they're horrendous. I don't know how many times I have to keep saying this. They're horrendous. Now, the All-Star starters came out earlier this week. In the West, you've got Luka, Steph, LeBron, Nikola Jokic, and Kawhi Leonard. In the East, you've got Kyrie, Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Joel Embiid. Fairly static. I thought James Harden might start instead of Bradley Beal, but I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it that Bradley Beal got the start. He's been playing amazing basketball, even though his team kind of sucks. Giannis Antetokounmpo still playing good basketball. Joel Embiid, MVP level. Same thing with the Western Conference. I don't really have a problem with any of this. Any starters on there. I assume guys like Devin Booker and what's the dude's name in Detroit? I can't forget Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine out in Detroit. So I wouldn't be surprised if they make it into the playoffs. But that's it, ladies and gentlemen, for Week 10 power rankings in the NBA. Okay, the New York Knicks are going to start allowing fans back into the Garden starting February 23rd. Yeah, you heard it. Starting February 23rd, fans are going to be allowed back into the Garden. The Atlanta Hawks, they're at 10% capacity. The TD Garden in Boston, they're still not allowing fans in. Brooklyn, they're at 10% of capacity until further notice. Charlotte, no fans. Chicago, no fans. The Cleveland Cavaliers are at 10% capacity. The Dallas Mavericks are at 25% capacity for home games. The Denver Nuggets are still no fans. The Detroit Pistons are no fans. The Warriors have yet to officially announce their plans, but I doubt they'll have fans either. Houston Rockets are at 25% capacity. The Indiana Pacers are at 25% capacity. Clippers and Lakers, probably no fans either. Memphis Grizzlies, no fans. The Miami Heat are currently allowing about 2,000 fans. The Milwaukee Bucks are allowing 1,800 fans. Minnesota Timberwolves, no fans. New Orleans Pelicans are at about 9%, but they're expected to move up to 16%. The Knicks, like I said, 10%. Oklahoma City Thunder, nothing. The Orlando Magic, about 4,000 fans. Philadelphia 76ers, haven't heard anything from them. The Phoenix Suns look like they've gone up to 3,000. Portland Trailblazers, nothing. The Sacramento Kings, also nothing. The Spurs are no fans, even though they're in Texas. Surprising. Toronto Raptors, well, they're in Toronto. They're not in Toronto. They're in Tampa. So I haven't really heard anything from them. The Utah Jazz are at about 21% capacity, and the Washington Wizards have no fans. So those are where your teams stand with the fan capacity. I hope they can get this thing under control for by later in the year. Maybe we can get total fans back in the building with these players. But ladies and gentlemen, that is it for episode 18 of the SJP Files. I am your host, SJP, and I hope that you guys listen to the podcast again. Once again, if you love what we're doing here, share it with your friends. Let people know what I'm doing on the podcast so we can grow our audience, so we can grow our base, so I can make a little bit more money, so I can continue to improve the pod, improve each episode. Let me know at my email if you have any questions you want me to answer on the next show. Hit me up on Twitter. Hit me up on Instagram. Hit me up on Facebook. Leave comments in my videos on my YouTube channels, SJP Chronicles. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll see you later.